Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to imagine just for a second the human DNA is this massive, ancient library. Now, for decades, we've known this incredible library exists, right? But the crazy thing is, we've basically only been able to read a tiny, tiny fraction of the books inside. Well, today, in this explainer, we're looking at a truly monumental breakthrough. Artificial intelligence is finally giving us the tools to not just read that entire library, but to actually start writing our own books entirely from scratch.
So I want you to ask yourself a huge question as we get started here. What if we could actually program life? Literally. What if we could program our own bodies to heal themselves in the exact same way a software engineer programs a computer to, say, fix a bug in some code? Now, I know it sounds like pure science fiction, right? But based on the absolutely mind-blowing breakthroughs we're unpacking today, this is rapidly becoming our actual reality.
To really wrap our heads around why this is such a massive leap forward, we have to look at one shocking number: 98%. You see, when you hear people talk about genes and DNA, you're usually only hearing about the 2% of our DNA that actually codes for proteins. So what about the other 98%? Well, scientists literally used to call it junk DNA. It's this non-coding dark matter that has just been a total mystery to us. We always knew it was doing something important, kind of acting like hidden switches inside the body, but we completely lacked the ability to decode it. Until right now.
You see, it's like this. We mapped the human genome over 2 decades ago. We figured out the biological foundation, the basic alphabet, of those 3 billion letters of code. But just knowing the alphabet doesn't mean you can speak the language, right? We had the letters, the A's, C's, T's, and G's, but we couldn't actually read the incredibly complex, long-range grammar that dictates our biology, our health, and our diseases. We were just staring at a jumble of letters without understanding the actual sentences.
Which brings us to Section 1, Illuminating the Dark Genome, reading the hidden chapters of human DNA.
So, artificial intelligence is now stepping in and acting as this incredible universal translator. Meet AlphaGenome from Google DeepMind. It is an AI designed specifically to translate that hidden 98% of your DNA. And what's just absolutely incredible here is the sheer scale of it all. AlphaGenome can read 1 million letters of DNA all at once. That's literally like reading an entire encyclopedia in a single second. Think of it like finally finding the master light switches for your house in the pitch dark. How does the AI even know where to look? Well, it predicts how distant parts of our DNA communicate with each other to turn certain genes on or off, which is completely revolutionizing how we view that biological dark matter.
And as Professor Rivka Isaacson points out here, this work is an exciting step forward in illuminating the dark genome. Because, before this, if a researcher wanted to understand how a super tiny change in this dark matter affected the human body, it required years and years of tedious trial and error in a physical lab. It was exhausting. Now, this AI completely replaces that grueling process. It instantly connects the dots between these incredibly distant regulatory switches in our cells. It's kind of like figuring out which remote control turns on a TV in a completely different room of your house, but it does it in seconds.
And this brilliantly illustrates how AlphaGenome takes these intensely complex molecular structures and figures out exactly what happens when there's a tiny misprint in your DNA. For instance, researchers actually used it to pinpoint hidden cancer mutations linked to childhood leukemia. The AI was able to trace exactly how a single typo in that dark genome activated a cancer-causing gene. It just connects the dots perfectly, seeing things that human researchers simply couldn't ever see on their own.
All right, moving on to Section 2, ChatGPT for your DNA, learning the grammar of life.
Because here's the thing, reading the genome is really only half the story. We have to actually understand its grammar. Think about the standard human language AI we all use now, things like ChatGPT that learn English to write essays or code software, right? Well, a new biological AI called Evo2 was built using those exact same principles, but instead of reading English, it was trained on 9.3 trillion letters of DNA. And it didn't just look at human DNA, it learned from bacteria, plants, animals, and even viruses. It quite literally learned the fundamental grammar of all life on Earth.
Because Evo2 learned this vast universal grammar, it operates as a remarkably powerful generalist. Think about it like this. Just like changing a single letter can completely alter the meaning of a word in English, changing cat to bat, Evo2 knows exactly how a single genetic typo can suddenly cause a disease. And the best part? It can predict these disease-causing mutations in seconds, completely bypassing months or even years of expensive manual lab work.
Let's actually put a number on that accuracy, 90%. When researchers put EVO2 to the test on the BRCA1 gene, which, as you might know, is heavily linked to breast cancer risk, the AI achieved over 90% accuracy in predicting whether a specific mutation was totally benign or highly dangerous. Now just imagine what this means for an actual patient waiting for their test results in the real world. Instead of a doctor saying, well, we found a mutation, but we don't really know what it does, this AI can instantly predict if it's a real threat, getting critical, life-saving answers to patients when they need them the most.
That brings us to Section 3, writing brand new life, from reading to authoring new biological solutions.
Okay, here is where we take the absolute ultimate leap. As computational biologist Haning Goodarzi points out, with EVO2, we can actually generate customized synthetic DNA. So the crucial point is, imagine taking a medicine that is genetically programmed to only turn on when it reaches your liver cells, and nowhere else. Because it can be designed to completely ignore the rest of your body, it totally avoids all those nasty side effects we usually associate with really powerful drugs. We are talking about highly targeted precision healing, designed entirely by a computer.
So how does this actually work in practice? Well, it's basically 3 steps. Step 1, the AI learns the DNA rules from its massive training data across the whole tree of life. Step 2, a scientist prompts the AI, quite literally the exact same way you would prompt a chatbot on your phone. And Step 3, the AI generates a synthetic cure. For example, researchers are already using this to design synthetic bacteriophages. You can think of these like microscopic homing missiles, built entirely from scratch, specifically to hunt down and destroy superbugs that our regular antibiotics just can't touch anymore. It is absolutely wild.
And finally, Section 4, how this changes everything. Upgrading your health and longevity.
So let's take a step back from the lab for a second. What does all of this actually mean for your everyday life? Well, we are looking at highly personalized medicine tailored specifically to your unique DNA. We are looking at drastically faster cures for incredibly complex diseases like Alzheimer's and cancer, mainly because this AI cuts the drug discovery timeline down by over 60%. We are talking about side effect-free, highly targeted treatments. Ultimately, this means we are moving away from a world of reactive medicine, where we wait until you get sick to treat you, to a totally new world of predictive, customized health, where we can literally design biological solutions to keep you well before you ever get sick. Wow. We have definitely covered a lot of ground in this explainer today, from illuminating the 98% of our dark DNA to AI models actually writing synthetic cures entirely from scratch. The sheer pace of this technology is staggering. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. If artificial intelligence can now write the very code of life, what will we ask it to build first?